Think about this for a moment. If you could magically inherit the skills of an NBA legend for one day, who would you pick? Well, a survey was carried out among basketball fans with this exact question, and guess what? Well, the majority pick was this baller right here. The man, the myth, and the legend of Los Angeles himself, Kobe Bryant. Oh, and it's quite easy to see why everyone wanted to play like Kobe. Heck, I would too. I mean, you could search, but you'll never find a baller with a better aesthetics than Bryant. And that's on period. This is a man who dominated the game so hard that he was unanimously considered one of the greatest to ever play the game. The pillar of the fabled Lakers dynasty, and an icon of the beautiful game at large. Now tell me, who wouldn't want to be that, even if only for half a minute? I know, right? But then it's also a known fact that Kobe Bryant is one of the hardest players to emulate because it takes a whole lot to become the Black Mamba.
Once upon a time, there was a young basketball player who had dreams of becoming one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
And that brings us to a question that has been spinning around the basketball world for a while now, especially among modern fans. Everybody wants to know, what exactly does it take to become the Black Mamba? Well, hello and a warm welcome back to your one-stop junction for the jumps, the dunks, and everything basketball. Today, we'll be looking at the making of a top icon in the game to see how his legend came to be, and you best believe it's one you don't want to miss. So, to get this party started, who is Kobe Bryant? Of course, this is one question that doesn't necessarily need an answer, and that's because Kobe is one of those ballers that needs zero introduction, not even outside the basketball world. But to understand how his legend came to be, we need to take a quick glance at how it all started for the superstar. Now, Kobe's was a tale of hard work, determination, and the type of resilience you only hear about in fiction, and it all started in Philadelphia, where Kobe was born. Growing up, basketball was always on the cards for Kobe. His father, Joe Bryant, was a former NBA star turned coach, and he also inherited a little bit of love for the game from his mother's side of the family. However, it was just more than the fact that his folks played. It was more the fact that even as a kid, Kobe was happiest when he played basketball. Bryant started to play at the age of 3, and he was always crazy about the Lakers. But in time, it started to become more than a hobby for him, and more of a lifestyle. He started to live and breathe in basketball, and it became evident in the way he dedicated lots of time and energy to becoming a better baller. As a high schooler, Bryant attended Marion High in Ardmore, Philadelphia, and he was an immediate hit there. But one thing that stood out the most was his work ethic and dedication to the game. The young lad took it quite personally, and reports have it that he trained for roughly 5 hours every single day. As expected, his input soon began to yield dividends, and young Kobe became unstoppable. In his junior year, he completely ripped the game apart, playing all 5 positions for his team and averaging a superb 31.1 points, 10.4 rebounds, 5.4 assists, and 3.8 blocks per game. Now, that's some ridiculous stats right there, but if you think that was peak high school Bryant, wait till you hear about his exploits as a senior. Well, we could quite literally say he kept the entire nation on his feet as he led his Aces team to their first state championship in over 5 decades. Again, as expected, the awards came pouring in. But not just that, he was also the talk of the entire basketball world, and colleges were head over heels in their attempts to snap up the youngster. At that point, however, it was already almost certain that Kobe was just too good for college basketball. So the 17-year-old decided to go directly to the NBA. Yeah, you heard that right. In doing so, young Kobe became the 6th player in the history of the game to make that leap. The 1996 NBA drafts marked the beginning of Kobe Bryant's pro career.
The Charlotte Hornets select Kobe Bryant from Lower Merion High School.
And a significant era in the league. Of course, even at such a tender age, no one ever doubted that Bryant was ready for the NBA. But then not everyone could have predicted that we were about to witness one of the most dominant careers in the history of the game. Before the drafts, the lifelong Lakers fan had opted to work out in Los Angeles, where he got to work with former Lakers general manager Jerry West for the first time. Even then, the connection with the Lakers team was already evident. And for Jerry West, he identified this young talent from a mile away and just knew he was meant to be here in Los Angeles. Of course, they weren't going to let such a talent pass them by, not when they were looking to build a winning team. So come draft day, Kobe was headed to Los Angeles, and the rest, as they say, is history. But not so fast anyway, because at the Lakers, young Kobe still had to work extra hard. And that was perhaps the theme of his career and the secret to his extraordinary achievements. Don't get it twisted, Kobe was a superbly gifted player, one of the most talented the game has ever seen. He was almost like a superhuman the way he played, effortlessly pulling off the most difficult skills and doing it with aplomb. Tell you what, even up until today, Kobe remains the closest thing to the legendary MJ that there's ever been, and it's not even debatable. But for all his natural abilities, the thing that stood out the most and fueled his storied career was his Mamba mentality, which emphasized relentless practice and improvements. He was always deliberate about putting in the work in each team practice, but it's during the off seasons that his famous 666 workout regime often comes to the fore. Wondering what that means? Well, it's a 6-month-long training program that sees the superstar put in 6 hours of intense training every day for 6 days a week. Oh, and no need to check out the math, that's roughly 1,296 hours of off-season training each year. Now, how's that for dedication, right? Indeed, that's a whole lot of work. But how exactly did it work out for Kobe? Well, for fans who watched the Black Mamba rise to stardom in the NBA as one half of the iconic Shaq Kobe Lakers dynasty, there was absolutely no questioning just how dominant he was. I mean, we're talking about a 5-time NBA champion, a 1-time NBA MVP, a 2-time Finals MVP, a 4-time NBA All-Star Game MVP, a 2-time Olympic champion, and a jaw-dropping 18-time NBA All-Star. To put that in perspective, Bryant's NBA career spanned 20 years, and he made the All-Star team for all but 2 years. In fact, his 18 consecutive All-Star team selections were a record at the time, and had only been matched by King LeBron himself. Tell you what, Kobe Bryant may not be the undisputed GOAT of basketball, but he certainly is one of the greatest players ever to play the game. In fact, he was named the 2000 Player of the Decade by TNT, and then the second greatest point guard ever by ESPN, only behind Michael Jordan. Now, while that may be slightly up for debate, there's absolutely no disputing the fact that Kobe was one of the most complete players of his generation. His 33,643 career points put him 4th on the all-time scorers ranking, while he's also the first player in league history to record at least 30,000 points and 6,000 assists. His 81-point game against the Toronto Raptors in 2006 remains the second highest ever in the history of the game, only behind Wilt Chamberlain's 100. Well, we could go on, but we'll definitely need a whole series to go through all of Kobe's records and accomplishments. One thing is for certain, however, and it's the fact that Bryant's legacy will forever be remembered in the NBA now and always. When the news of Kobe's death hit the headlines in January 2020, it left the entire world in shock. The tragic nature of the helicopter crash and the fact that his 13-year-old daughter was also on board made it even more heartbreaking. However, the aftermath of the tragedy afforded the opportunity to cast back and reminisce about the extraordinary career of a legend whose contributions ushered in a modern era in the history of the game. His dedication to the game was only rivaled by his loyalty to the Los Angeles-based franchise and the Lakers dynasty that he helped build. So, what does it take to become Black Mamba? Well, it takes commitment and dedication like never ever seen before. But beyond that, it also takes lots of practice. Thousands of hours dedicated to team training, personal workouts, and intense drills. It is estimated that Kobe Bryant put in over 30,000 hours of basketball training, which is just so insane when you think about it. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, that's the price for greatness. That's exactly what it takes to become Black Mamba. So there you have it, folks, the legend of the Black Mamba himself. Be sure to let us know what you think of Kobe Bryant's approach to basketball and his claim to all-time greatness. Also, don't forget to smash that like icon and subscribe to this channel for more exciting videos about your favorite NBA legends.